girl being questioned by Toledo Police Department officers before the situation turns physical. At one point, an officer takes the girl to the ground and places her in handcuffs as bystanders question what she did wrong.
Let's see her battle wounds. Get attacked by that cat.
Down here, we got the FBI agents out here, boy. They ain't playing today. Boy, what the hell is going on in this little center? The FBI in Defiance, Ohio. Holy sheesh.
How's it going? We're going to share this clip with you today, right out of Toledo, Ohio. Got some bad news about Toledo's finest, right? For those of you who can't seem to pull yourselves away from backing the blue, another case of until it happens to you. Northwest Ohio. That's where we're reigning out of, right? Most corrupt area of the United States, almost. You know, aside from Washington, D.C., of course. As usual, we're fighting the wind today. And it's a pain, I realize that. Not too good for our audio, but it is what it is. Of course, we don't have, I have the mic, but don't have the adapter needed because Apple thought it was funny to go ahead and change their setup, you know, several years ago, and so now you need to have a special adapter. It is what it is. We appreciate you struggling through to listening. I mean, it sucks because we're trying to say what we got to say in between the gusts of wind, but we're pushing near 80 today, and so the wind cools it off a little bit. But here's what we got: a teenager attacked by the cops while being restrained and handcuffed. Let's take a look.
The NAACP is calling for an investigation after a video shows a teenage girl being detained by police in North Toledo. The video appears to show a 15-year-old girl being questioned by Toledo Police Department officers before the situation turns physical. At one point, an officer takes the girl to the ground and places her in handcuffs as bystanders question what she did wrong. The girl is brought back up and appears to spit on the officer and is brought back down to the ground. On a Facebook post, the girl's mother says police initially stopped the group for walking in the street and claims her daughter, a Whitmer High School student, was taken to a juvenile facility. The NAACP is now calling for a transparent investigation and the release of body camera footage. Police say they are reviewing the incident.
We'll let you consider that for a minute while we change subject just for a minute. Now, Whiskey and I was walking down this path. We didn't realize this morning. Of course, we always find out too late. They got here before we took our walk. FBI. Up to something here in Defiance, Ohio. Yesterday was reported a Dayton SWAT team 3 hours away was here roaming around in Defiance with their SWAT vehicle. So we're not for sure what was going on. No one seems to have any answers. But the FBI, with help of the police, was roaming around this area. Now here in Defiance, we don't ever see the FBI. So it caught a lot of people's attention. And of course, everyone's speculating what it might be. Corruption, whatever. But I assure you, they're not here to end corruption. I've already contacted the FBI several times while being ignored. What we got going on here, Whiskey? Looks like they're all still here. Is this where the FBI was seen reported? Is this where the FBI was seen being reported?
I heard.
What's going on? They ought to be investigating the sheriff's office, you know? They're corrupt over there. They're in charge of stolen property, stolen firearms,
Okay.
stolen drugs probably, all kinds of stuff. And it's been reported to FBI, but they come here to some chiropractor's office or whatever, I don't know. I just seen on Facebook that the FBI was over here. And I was walking my dog. I was like, let's go see if... I figured that everything was all gone by now, but then we come through and seen you. All right. Have a good day.
Take care, man. Be safe.
Yep, you too. They can't talk about it. Figured that'd be the answer. But that's a chiropractor's office they got surrounded. Not sure what's going on. The FBI. Very nice, huh? But if you heard the conversation I had with the officer, I'm not gonna pick on Defiance City Police too much. They seem to be pretty cool with everybody overall. But at the end of the day, they all stick together, right? But as you heard, you know, I've reported to the FBI and they've totally ignored me. Didn't even respond to me. And everything I said to them was complete facts. It's all on my videos. It is what it is, right? They're not going to investigate each other. The government's not going to investigate itself. It would be nice to hear what's going on. Just one block over from where they're at is a building of a guy who is very well known, loaded, right? And suspected of being involved in a murder that was somebody offed themselves, and it was blown off as it was self-inflicted, right? But there was very much suspicion, I've talked about it in another video, that it could be a foul play case. However, they don't care about that. I don't know what's going on. It'd be nice to know. If we find out, we'll update the information. You know, but point is, as I said, to the officer, you know, it's funny that the FBI can't come around when the people, the taxpayers, call them up and say, hey, you got a legitimate complaint, come and investigate it. Of course, somehow the sheriff's office their crimes get ignored. And everything I said is exactly true. They are in possession of stolen property that they stole from me unlawfully. They're in possession of stolen firearms. They're now stolen because they stole them, right? And in possession of legal weed that does not belong to them, so they stole drugs, right? And all of this is absolutely true. But we'll ignore that. We don't care if the government steps in and ruins someone's life and takes away their way of supporting themselves, even though they've constantly paid their taxes and done the things they should be doing. But because you speak out against them, they're going to come in and ruin your life. got in that vehicle. One city police, one, two unmarked agents getting into a vehicle with regular tags, not even government tags. Probably said, hey, let's sit in here in private and smoke a joint while we're sniff a couple of lines while we talk about what we're doing. So we're gonna jaywalk. Should point out that this Land Rover or whatever it is parked way too close to that stop sign. That's illegal. If you did that, being parked on the wrong direction, on the wrong side of the road, that close to the stop sign, you would be fined. You would get in trouble. That's illegal, according to them, against the law, but they're allowed to do it. The law is allowed to do it. Interesting enough, the name on the door is Little. Wow. We know here in Defiance how we have enough people, we can just name one, right? Austin Little. I don't know if that's any relation or not, but always corruption. And we don't have, they can't give me any answers. Yeah, I realize that. That's why I wish I would have caught regular FBI agent, because I won't take no for an answer. How come you guys ignored me all this time when I've submitted complete proof? Of corruption by our local sheriff's office. Complete proof, and they ignored it. So I don't know what's good. There's speculation. Someone said, oh, maybe it's because of that city council member that was busted for sexual misconduct or whatever, which is the sheriff's brother, right? I doubt it has to do with that. It's probably something way more serious than that for the FBI to be involved and for them to keep this place surrounded with unmarked people, right? But it is what it is. Oh, had the camera pointed at me, so somebody come out the door and turn around and walk back in. They think it's pointed at them. But that's all right. We're allowed to do what we do. And that's what we're going to continue doing. The officer and the unmarked plainclothes people are still sitting in that vehicle. It's probably sitting there letting it idle while they sit in there in the AC on your tax dollars, right? Is what it is. So I'll see if I can find the clip that was posted on Facebook that showed the FBI agents walking through here. If I can find it, I'll post it. Otherwise, we'll share this clip that's happened out of Toledo with the city police. What we got sheriff coming. It does somehow, it is suspicious that the sheriff ain't involved in this. Wonder what's going on. Well, we can't talk about it. And I get that. Of course, you can't talk about it. Like I said, that's why I wish the FBI was still here, because I won't take no for an answer from them. Do your damn jobs properly. I don't know what's going on over here, but I've had now almost 3 years now a complaint that's been ignored. Of course, every agency there is has ignored it, whether it be the Supreme Court. I've contacted the Attorney General, State Police, every agency you can think of, I have contacted. And nobody ever has any answers, right? They ignore it, they ignore it, they ignore it. Such as any of us who have problems with our local officials always find out. This is the way it goes. Now we got a guy over here on the phone watching. He's probably calling, hey, get this guy out of here with the phone surrounding us. He's nosing around wanting to know what's going on. Well, I don't see the Crescent News out here. I don't see anyone over here trying to get answers. Now he turned his back to us, so we can't see who he is. But it's what it is, right? We want answers. We want to know why the FBI, where's our tax dollars being spent? We'll keep an eye on it, and if it's anything significant, we'll update you. Back to this issue with the Toledo police, which is probably where these FBI agents are out of, right? A teen who was already handcuffed slammed to the ground by the police. What do you make of that? Let's talk about all these issues into one. Let's talk about the significant similarities with all of it. Here's sirens coming this way. Wonder what's going on now. We seen the plainclothes guy on the phone, and as we started to walk away, he put his phone down, walked back towards his bros. So he's probably calling on us. Hey, Sarge, you know that guy that's walking around with the camera all the time, who scares us? Always looking for answers. We don't know what to do. He's here now. So we come back around. What do we do, Sarge? That guy's walking around with a camera. We're scared. We don't know what to do. Anyway, that's the way our police force is here in America anymore, right? The incident with how it's going in Toledo. I didn't realize I was gonna cut into two subjects today. They're both kind of same subject, but kind of different, right? Both happening here in Northwest Ohio. But we was going to talk about this incident in Toledo. And Whiskey and I, while we're on the walk, we sat down for a minute and noticed that earlier this morning somebody posted what happened with the FBI here. And then seen somebody else comment saying, oh yeah, we noticed Dayton SWAT team circling over here at the park yesterday. So I'm like, what's going on? So I recognized the area from the video that was posted. Like I said, if I can find it again, I'll clip it into this one. So I said, Whiskey, we're gonna walk down there and see what's happened. And sure enough, there was still an officer there. And like I said, I wish some of them FBI agents would have still been there, because they'll get a grilling from me, that's for sure. They think anyone around here, but they know better with me. Hey, that guy's here with the camera. He's gonna harass us, boss. What do? We don't know what to do. I'm a little bit fearful, right? Anyways, but I didn't want to give. I really wish they were still here, because I would grill them. I don't care what uniform you're wearing, or what kind of badge you think you have, or what's written on your vest. We're the public and we deserve answers. And I deserve answers for what they've done to me, where my property is, that I hear nothing about anymore. But I'm not going to press the city officer. I should have asked his name, I didn't, but whatever. I see these guys all the time. They wave at us, we wave at them. And I'm not gonna lie, here in Defiance city limits, there's some people that would disagree, but we don't have too big of an issue. And they all seem to be pretty decent, trying to do their job properly. And I understand that this is part of his job. He was stationed out here to guard the place or whatever. So, and you know, I asked him what's going on. Well, I can't talk about that, and I know that, right? So I'm not going to press him and harass him too much. He's done nothing to me, and there's people that don't understand that. There's people, oh, well, he's a cop. You got to hate all cops, and that's not the truth either. Okay, we got to get this stuff figured out properly, all of us, right? If they ain't done nothing wrong that I'm aware of, I'm not going to press them, our local police, right? Because not the sheriffs don't get that respect from me, because, well, it is what it is. The shoe fits, right? And you guys have chosen to be my enemy. You want forgiveness? No problem. Step up and ask for it like a man, right? Like I stepped up to you guys like a man, and then you played your games. But the city police, so far so good. So, you know, I'm not going to overly harass them or make a big stink that don't need to be made. And no, we don't hate cops just because they're cops. We don't hate all cops. Now, it is true that, well, you put on that badge, on that gang uniform, and therefore you are a brotherhood with the rest. But, you know, you got to separate the districts. City police are different from state police and from sheriffs, right? All three are different. FBI, that's different. All of them. Now, when the time comes, they end up working together. Happens many times. And maybe there's something very legit going on. I don't know, right? Like I said, we'll see if we can find out. And where do I get off talking like this, excusing city police or whatever? Because I see a lot of channels out there and they're not. When I see you're not doing something wrong, I got no problem giving praise where it's deserved, right? You're doing your job right. You're an innocent, you know, you're not harassing or harming people's rights. And, you know, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, it's not because they are police officers, right? When all these things that are going wrong that's involving authority figures, right? It's not just because of that. And they're not the only ones, and this is what we don't realize. We can sit here, auditors, I ain't done an audit in a while, but today was the opportunity. But auditors can too many of them. There's some good ones out there, it's peaceful ones or whatever, but there's many of them out there that think they're gonna walk up and disrespect cops just because they're cops. And I don't agree with that. Wait until they do something wrong, you know, or unless they're a dick to you or something like that, right? This guy was cool, I'm not gonna overly press it. He's standing out here, probably doesn't even want to be doing that. That's what he's told to do, so it is what it is, right? Because it's, stay on point here, it's not just about, well, all cops are bad cops, right? I'll say that sometimes, or there are no good cops, but the truth is, here in Defiance city limits, inside the city limits with the city police, I don't see too much bad going on or too much overzealous stuff going on, pushing their weight around. They're pretty friendly and they don't seem to be bothering people unless there's an issue arises. So we're not going to harass them. So shout out to you, Defiance City Police, right? But the big point is, at the end of the day, like I said, it's not just because you're a cop or whatever they do, right? This is what I'm trying to focus my channel on. It's about the truth and justice, right? And righteousness. And this is where our world altogether has gone wrong. We've lost sight of what's right and wrong. We've lost humanity towards each other. We've lost appreciation and respect towards each other. And it's not separated by the badge or not. It's the world as a whole and the people as a whole. We've lost sight of God and His will. That's where it all comes down to, right? If we want to change the things you see happening with the audits, if we want to make positive change, we got to stay focused on the truth. You know, not picking on people just because they're wearing a badge or because of whatever, right? That's no different than issues with racism or any other things with hate. You can't hate people just because of whatever category they fit into. At the end of the day, it's about, if you want to make a real change, these audits ain't really doing it. You go getting in the bigger cities or whatever, they get in their face, they start harassing the cops, and not to stick up for the cops, but you know, the truth is the truth, right? Some of them don't deserve it, some of them do. But you're not going to change it by running out saying, oh, I'm allowed to do an audit and disrespect you and everything else. That's your way, right? But the truth is, it's about getting right with God. Well, anyways, the point is, at the end of the day, it's about all of us, and I've said this before, right? We need to get right with what God expects, and start living properly in His commandments, and loving each other, and having respect for each other, right? We got this big thing going on, like Trump once again posted this thing that's just showing his blasphemy constantly, and it's a big, if you take what goes on with the auditors and under filming police and stuff like that, it's no different than how it is with politics. Everything in life is going this way. Everyone hates this group or that group, and you're right. So you consider Trump, and then people, and if I complain about Trump, I'm not a Democrat just because I complain about Trump. I've complained about every one of them from both sides, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. They are not acting within the bounds of the Constitution, and there's where it don't matter which way you vote. It don't matter. You can say, oh, they're taking over, this group is taking over, that group's taking over. At the end of the day, if we, the people, would hold them accountable to the Constitution on all levels, then we wouldn't have these problems, no matter who's in office. But because we won't do that, then you get certain people like Trump, and not just him, other politicians that will empower corrupt law enforcement instead of making sure they're abiding by your rights and your freedoms. It's because of a lack of God, right? The further we get away from God, the worse things get. That's the real issue at the heart of the matter. And we all need to understand that. And that's all I really got to say about that today. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Or just say hello to whiskey. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep all of his commandments, for that is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. See ya.